Ken,
Yes,
we're back.
yes. Hi. Hello. That's
Hello.
me.
It is
Hi.
you, is the continue, and the rod, and we're back. And yes, for the first time in months, it's only two of us. Our co-host people are Brian has hurt himself, and Josh is pimping, and pimping ain't easy, so he's very busy pimping. I mean, Ken knows pimping ain't easy.
Pimpin' ain't easy. You know what else isn't easy?
What?
Transitions into this is the MurderMoose podcast.
Part of the Slashing Cast podcast network.
It's in the game.
It's in Ken's ass, and
My
we're here.
ass.
It's in Ken's ass. We're back, yeah, and we're continuing our cult movie streak as we're 3 weeks in with cult movies. All started by Opus, and we've done 3 of these in a row. Can I help you, Poodle? I have a poodle trying to put her head on my lap while I'm trying to talk to you, and I'm like, can I help? God, she's just a fluffy teddy bear at this point.
Aw, she loves you so much.
She's a sweet, sweet girl, and I love her with all my heart. And I love her with all
Broderick,
my heart.
what have you been doing?
Let's see. I've been playing Oblivion like you, not as much as you, but I've been playing a bunch of Oblivion. I went and saw The Accountant 2 on Saturday.
What was it?
I liked it. It was fun. It was like, I don't know. I was worried that the first one was going to be too much of like, oh, the autism is a superpower kind of thing, which it kind of is, but it really isn't. And it's like, I think they handle it in a very like realistic way. It's not like that movie with John Travolta where he's just playing the like generic mental neurospicy kind of thing, you know? And
I don't know which movie that is.
oh, The Fanatic. That's the one that Fred Durst directed. And
Wait, hold on.
yeah.
Fred Durst?
Yes, we've gone over this before. It's Fred Durst starring John Travolta, where John Travolta plays a very, very, very like neurospicy individual, but not like it's basically that scene from Tropic Thunder where he's like, you never go full. And John Travolta goes full, and it is just it is one of the worst movies in the world, but it's also very entertaining. So it's terrible, but I love it because it's so
I've never
terrible.
seen it, and it looks horrible.
It is literally one of those movies that for me, that's up there with The Room and like Trolls 2 with terrible bad movies that are just like, you're like, how is this made in a world of like this? And it's like, yeah, Fred Durst directed, Devon Sawa was in it. So you go.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it's one of those things you go, I love you, Devon Sawa, but this ain't it. This ain't it. So, and trying to like my continuous, like, as I've completely pulled away from the dating pool because was getting so frustrated with everything. So I've just been trying to.
You're waiting for Burning Man, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say. So I'm just prepping for Burning Man and just like doing everything for that and just being like, well, I don't know. I'm trying to buy everything because I don't know if you've seen this, Ken. All the images of like our ports are just fucking empty because nothing's being shipped into the country because of the lunatic that is the president here. Ken is.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
like, I mean, I know that it's shitty and stuff has gone to hell, but I didn't think about for like Burning Man or anything like that.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm just trying to make sure I'm getting shit now before like the shit hits the fan and there's stuff I can't get, right? So I've gotten most of the things I need. I've been looking at bike racks. That's like the next thing I've been like trying to figure out. Like a bike rack to get my bike there. And I realized I don't have a actual trailer hitch. So I'm gonna have to probably put it on the roof of my car. You know, those ones that you go like that, which is fine, whatever. I don't give a fuck. As long as it works, I don't care.
Can you put an electric bike up there?
I don't have an electric bike.
Oh, that's right. You got the fat tire bike.
Yeah, I got just fat tire bike. It's like a 4-inch.
Yeah, okay.
Giant tires because like there's made to run around the playa, which is just a dried up lake bed. So like, yeah. So that's kind of been my thing. What the fuck? Is someone jumping into our thing? because
No,
Josh, I'm recording. I didn't think you said you weren't coming, Josh.
I'm not.
Okay, then you're just.
You gotta stroke it a lot harder than that, man.
I'm recording the podcast, Josh. So all you're doing is messing up my OBS.
Okay, cool.
I love you.
I
God
didn't
damn
have
it.
time to watch the movie, but I'm doing the thing you guys did, I guess.
I mean, all you've done is like move Meankin's heads on my OBS screen, Josh.
Yay! I love it.
And I'm not in the director chair to kick Josh out. This is
Bye. Love
bye,
you.
Josh.
Bye.
Love you.
Oh, goodbye.
Chaos. This podcast is chaos, Ken. I was just gonna ask you, what have you been up to besides like getting groceries? Ken was grocery shopping, and yeah,
I was grocery shopping, and then I took Cats to go vote, and then I went to the other grocery store, and he went to the weed store, and then we came back and put away groceries. It's been a very exciting day. No, I've been when I've not been streaming, I'm prepping all the walls to paint, and I'm doing like a hardcore prep. So I've literally sanded all of the walls, not just like little spots. I'm like doing all the walls, and then now I'm hitting all the walls with this like special cleaner that's like apparently really dangerous, but like I've given up and I don't give a fuck if I don't have fingerprints at the end of it. I don't care. But it looks so good. And so
Yeah.
after all the walls are done, I've got my primer, so I'm going to be able to prime the walls, and then we're going to get paint, and I'm so excited. It looks so good already. Like,
Ken's gonna end up like the guy at the end of 7 who's burned all his fingertips off, like so they can't connect the
it's
crimes
actually
or not.
not that bad. Plus, I'm not mixing it. Like, I'm diluting the fuck out of this stuff. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like, other than that, I've been doing that. I've been walking on stream and did 10 miles today.
Jesus.
So
Are you? I mean, because you've been doing because everyone knows that like as an adult in the modern world that like consistency is the fucking hardest thing with working out, because especially if you're like neurospicy like Ken and I are, like routine is like if you get yourself into routines, it makes life significantly easier because you're not fighting as hard. Your own brain isn't fighting you hard because it goes in auto mode. But like, how have you been feeling since you've been like, are you losing weight, or is your cardio feeling way better? I mean, you're doing so much walking that it's like,
I'm not even checking weight wise.
Well-
I'm not checking clothes wise. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not, my honest thing is that I'm not like, I'm just trying to do it to kind of like build stamina back up, but also just to be moving.
Yeah.
I've decided to take that active role towards it right now.
yeah,
Because like I don't want to throw myself into hard stuff or whatever, but I just need to be moving, and I
Yeah.
didn't move for months.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to be like, oh, okay, well, I did 10 miles today, so that means if I do 10 miles every day, I can do 50 miles this week,
yeah,
but yeah, so I don't, and it's nice to not feel pressure with it too. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, if I don't do 10 miles tomorrow, that's fine, That was one
Yeah.
of the things that I was trying to be really mindful of, because I had to miss a couple days, and I was like, oh, now I'm not going to be able to hit this goal. And then I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, I don't need a goal.
yeah.
I just want to move. I just need to be moving.
It's- I find it very much like streaming in the fact that if you sit there and you judge yourself with your numbers, it is way worse for your mental health. Like you're sitting there going, what, huh? What? No, don't, because like, it's like, you can expect things, and I know how you are, I know how I am, and it's like I haven't looked at my streaming numbers for months. Like my only indication of how my stream went is when I read someone at the very end, and I'm like, oh, this many people are coming wrong. But like, it's the same thing. Like I took Zelda for like about like a 1.5 mile walk there and back, like total, like to the end the street by my house and back with Zelda, and I'm just like, yeah, that just doing that cardio, because I'm also prepping and making sure I'm not like a complete piece of shit before Burning Man. So I'm like, I got a little under 4 months now, so I'm like, I just want to have some stamina built up, and just like
I would absolutely be walking at least a few times a day on that walk before Burning Man, because that's going to be That's going to be a party. Weasel goes to the vet tomorrow, and we're going to have them figure out her attacking of the tail situation.
Is it?
So
I thought that was getting better. Is it gotten worse again?
it got a lot better. And then during the podcast last week, actually, she she just started freaking the hell out again,
Yeah.
and she's not as rough with it now, but she's still doing it. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna just see. First, I was gonna have them do tests, but honestly, I think it's just stress related, and I'm just gonna be
Yeah.
like, "Hey, can we give her something?" Because
Is
I
there?
don't think she's neurologically messed up or anything.
Have you tried? I don't know. Okay, this is a dog person question. Given, do cats respond to CBD?
They
Okay.
do.
Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe.
they do. I haven't tried it with her.
Yeah.
I did give her so she was given an anxiety medication for when she was supposed to travel
Yeah.
up here, and I didn't give it to her. Well, Bean got given the same stuff for when he flew.
Yeah.
So I asked the vet in the past, I was like, "Hey, isn't this the same thing?" And they were like, "Yeah." But with Bean, when he flew, he got a quarter of a tablet every like 8 to 12 hours during that
Yeah.
travel time
Yeah.
period. I gave her an eighth, and she was just zonked to the world.
Yeah.
Like when they get really high like that, you know how like when cats sleep, like the inner parts of their eyes close up, like
Yeah.
their inner eyelid. Hers were like that, and she was still like looking around and trying to function. So I was like,
Also,
okay, I need something else. Like you
I
can't.
yeah, try
So
CBD. Like, I mean, I think that's at least worth a try. And I don't think you have to worry too much about the health effects. Just go real minor doses. Because I had back in the day, I had a Great Dane who had epilepsy, so I would give him CBD to
oh.
try to help with that. And
Mhm.
and it's been given to the Frenchies in my house, like in that, you know, in between time. And it never like I think Gizmo at one time like passed the fuck out from it, and might have been because he was so anxious, and it just let him, you know, like zonk
Relax
out.
finally,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
I don't know. I've thought about trying it with her, but I think I'm gonna see what they say. I'd rather try things before taking her in, but she's
yeah,
also, she's older now, and I'm
yeah,
kind of hesitant to
yeah. Ask
too
ask them
much.
about ask them about it. Like just to, like and see what their opinion is, because it's like I think that it's like worth a try, because like I think that like I mean, you ever see the videos? I mean, you go through TikTok and Instagram and stuff enough that like you see the videos of dogs that have like eaten edibles that they weren't supposed to, and
Mhm.
they're just like, well, all you can do is make them as comfortable as possible for like the next how long, you know? So
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what I did when I gave her the stuff not too long ago, and she was like,
yeah,
but
I mean that cat is like hyper and also older, and she's obsessed with you, so like it's almost like your neurospiciness is rubbed off on Weasel. Like she's like neurospicy like you.
well, she's always been dumb, right? Like
And I'm
she
not
tried.
calling you dumb, by the way. You
No, I
you
know, I
said dumb.
know. And I'm not saying that spicy people are dumb
Yeah,
either. I'm
yeah,
saying that she's always been dumb. No,
yeah.
she's tried to die on me so many times that I'm like, how she hasn't had problems is beyond me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, well, good luck to Weasel. She's a sweetheart. How's Mr. Bean doing, the baby havoc?
He's so good. He's good. He's very violent with one of our cats.
Yeah.
Like hides and then jumps on him and wraps his whole body around his neck and just tries to ride him like a horse, but also beat his ass at the same time. And we're like, dude, beat Bean's ass, put him in his
Yeah.
place. But otherwise, like he's so sweet and he's so loving, but he does
Yeah.
go after all of the cats except Stripes, because
Yeah.
Stripes will just beat the shit out of him and move on with life. And he plays with Flynn, who
Yeah.
Flynn is terrified of Stripes. And it's a whole dynamic.
I was gonna say you have to have like a social structure. Like if anyone's ever like you and cats go out of town, you're gonna have to like have a whiteboard with like
Oh my
Charlie Cox,
god.
like a like a lot, like what
It was
cat is
already
allowed.
bad enough when we went
Yeah,
out of town with the 4 of them, because
yeah,
it was just like, okay, these cats get this one does not, like, blah, blah,
yeah.
but it wasn't that complicated. It's gonna be so stupidly complicated.
Uh,
But, I mean, I'm thinking it's gonna get better over time. Being so cuddly, though, like,
yeah,
he doesn't get to cuddle a lot, but, like, he slept with us last night, and he
yeah.
cuddled all night, and he's just so cuddly, and then this morning, he came and hung out while I was streaming, and I held him for a bit because he just wants
Are
snuggles, but
are cats like comparable to dogs when it like how long it takes them to chill the fuck out? Because I've never really had kittens and shit like that.
I think it depends on the cat. Like Weasel was pretty calm her entire existence.
Yeah.
Stripes was a little rambunctious, but I didn't have him from kitten.
Yeah.
Bean is just cranked. Like he is like your stereotypical. He could be an orange cat. Like
Yeah.
honestly, he
Yeah.
does not like things on the desk. He has chewed so much on this notebook that like I don't know how it's not falling apart.
Yeah.
He just has very specific things, but he will sit with me while I'm cleaning. He loves watching me sand the walls. He likes
Yeah.
the vacuum cleaner. He wants to play with the broom. Like those things are kind of weird for a cat,
Yeah.
but he's
I
a stinker.
I think one of my favorite things in the world is watching videos of cats like boxing each other, or they're just like
Yes.
smacking each other, or they're just like for random reason. Which I don't know if you know. It seems like Sphinx cats do that more than like.
Oh my god! And when they smack,
Yeah,
you
and
can hear them, and it sounds like pieces of chicken
Yep.
smacking.
I want a Sphinx cat, but fuck, man, I'm not paying $3,000 for a goddamn cat.
They're
That's
so expensive. Like my
Yeah.
cousin and his fiance. I don't know if I told you this or not, but they got one as a wedding
yeah,
gift.
yeah. You told me that. Yeah.
It's so pretty. It's
What's the cat's-
so pretty.
What's its name?
But then, like, as soon as they had it, and I was like holding it, I was looking at it, and it had like some dirt and its little wrinkles, and I was
Yeah.
like, I could never have this
Yeah.
cat.
That's
My brain would never leave this fucking cat alone. Because I'd
Yeah.
be like, oh, dirt, gotta clean it, gotta clean it, gotta clean it, gotta clean it. And they're like, you don't have
It's-
to clean them that often, and I'm like,
I think that's like just like because you're also like diagnosed OCD with things, right? Like, and I think
ADHD.
are you,
No.
you I didn't know if you had small traces of OCD.
Yeah, I've got some.
Okay,
small
so that's-
traces of it.
Because you and Katie remind me so much of each other with like the cleaning shit, especially where you're both like must clean, and it's just like hype. It's that weird combination of autistic where you're like paying attention to details, and then like ADHD where you're like you're fucking hyper focusing on one thing, and you're just
Well,
like
and it's wild because like this space,
yeah
I don't feel, and it's a problem, but like I
Yeah.
don't feel like I have to be so rude. But everywhere else, I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's very weird.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to go and dive in. Or like I said, Ken, I was actually kind of amazed you'd never seen this movie, but like,
I think
was
I
like-
had, but I don't remember well enough to.
Yeah.
But the second I started it, I was like, oh,
yeah,
it's like that.
you know, it's funny because when I saw it, this was like I got into a stretch back in the like 2010s of like watching, like going through all Ty West movies, and I forgot this is a weird combination of. I don't know why Eli Roth's movie like names all over it. Maybe he helped like produce or whatever. I'm not 100% sure, but like it's a Ty West movie, and like he had a stretch where his first few movies were just bangers. There was like The House of the Devil and The Innkeepers, and then I don't know if there's and then I don't know. I think he was just in Your Next. I don't think he actually did anything with Your Next, but like it's all this stuff where he had those like that. And then he stopped for a while until he made X, and
No,
this
he
mov-
did. He did. Okay, so The Wicked and Prey. He did The Roost, Triggerman, Christmas Decay, House of the Devil,
yeah,
Cabin Fever 2. The Innkeepers. He did a segment on VHS and a segment on the ABCs of Death.
yeah,
He did The Sacrament.
yeah.
And then he did like a couple TV series,
Yeah,
a couple more TV stuff, TV, and then X.
yeah. He's also married to an EDM artist, Allison Wonderland is her name, and who was I guess the DJ in Maxine in the club scene or whatever.
Oh, that's cool.
And she's pretty good. I like her stuff. But yeah, do you have a an IMDb, a plot synopsis of this movie, Miskin?
I do. A news team trails a man as he travels into the world of Eden Parish to find his missing sister, where it becomes apparent that this paradise may not be as it seems.
I think when I went in and watched this, I had no idea that it was like Jonestown 2.0. Like they basically took Jonestown and went from instead of South America to they don't say where it is, but it seems like it's in Africa. because of like the trees and like the like I don't know.
I don't remember exactly where they say it.
I don't think they said.
It's okay, so full disclosure, and I've already messaged Rod about this,
Yep.
but I'll let you guys know. So I love cults. I
Yep.
love, you know, just I love them. And I
Yeah.
had listened to I love Last Podcast on the Left. It's
Yep.
my favorite. They did an episode a long time ago about Jonestown, but not necessarily a deep dive on it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know I've seen something about it on there. They had a 5-part series on Jim Jones and Jonestown. I listened to all of it. So I've got
Yeah.
like 12 to 14 hours of content on the
Yeah.
subject ready
Yep.
to go. But yeah, I mean, basically the Sacrament, honestly, is Jonestown.
Yeah.
Like to a T. The only
Yep.
difference is that I don't remember the Sacrament having a political person showing up.
No.
But
He warns that they would show up at the very end before all the shit hits the fan, but
that's
yeah.
his whole fucking thing. It's
Yeah.
that's once Jim Jones started going downhill,
Yeah.
like he was always fucked up. As a kid, he would always dress fancy. He would like bounce from things. He's very like, he fell in love with the idea of aviation at one point, but then 6 weeks later was like, no, I don't want to do that. But I mean, like he always dressed up for school. He got
Yeah.
picked on because of it. He wanted everybody to fall into his little box. And if you didn't listen to him and give him his attention, his world would fall apart.
Yeah.
He created a program that was almost like when he was still a kid. He had all these little kids, and it was kind of like that Boys for Hitler type program
Yeah.
that he did a lot of stuff with. And then his whole thing at first of all, he was not religious, even though he claimed to be, but he actually started out as like a social activist where he would go into these poor Black communities and try to alleviate the problems, try to get segregation that was like ending, trying to get people to be like, hey, like don't do this anymore. So he would do like walk-ins with big groups of people, and he would really fight for change, and he was actually very good at it, even though it was all self-fulfilling, and even though there were nefarious reasonings behind it. He started out as like a great social person, and then as time went on, he moved his group from Illinois to California, threw them all on buses. He also did a lot of the revival circuits and pretended that he was a healer. And he did a great job of not pandering. What's the word I'm looking for? Basically appealing to all of his different groups. So he had some people that were there specifically for the socialism aspect and some people that were there for the religious aspect. And he was described by one of the guys on the show as being very Bill Clinton-esque in the sense that he could make you feel like you were the only person in the room. Like you would be having this conversation. There could be thousands of people around you, but the second he started talking to you, you were the only person that mattered. So he did a great job of that, which is why he was able to kind of bring these groups together. And eventually they slowly started moving down into what, in this being Eden Parish in this movie, they started moving people down slowly. They were slowly starting to build it up. Stuff was going well. He started running out of money. All kinds of shit happened. So he moved his whole congregation of 900 and something people to Jonestown. Claimed they had no money, but there were it was like billions of dollars in their coffers. And over time, he kind of started really falling apart at the edges and losing control. And he was on so many, he was on like methamphetamines in the day and then Quaaludes at night, which is why he wears the sunglasses. He was just out of his fucking mind. They did such a great job of it, of like showing when they were having their meetings in the movie. That's pretty much what it was, except Jim Jones did not allow people to sit on chairs during the meetings. They were not allowed to leave during the meetings. They were not allowed to do it, and these meetings could last hours upon hours.
Which is Did
it's
he have?
wild.
Yeah. Did they have issues with like? I mean, because in just this movie, while you were talking, one of the things that kind of stuck out to me was the scale of it. Like they didn't have the scale of Jonestown, but that was probably a lot to do with finances and being able to what they were afford in their budget. Like what was it, 136 or 163, something like that? They claimed at the end died in the Sacrament.
Oh, in the movie,
Yeah.
It was not. It was only like an eighth.
Yeah.
Of the actual population of
Yeah.
Jonestown.
What was Jonestown's death total? Was it like 900?
900 and hold on, I had it pulled up.
Yeah.
Over 900.
Yeah.
There were only, what was it, 7 people that managed to get out.
Yeah.
And they started with the children. They
did that in here, yeah.
Via the syringes or whatever, and then if people would take it, they would either inject them or like force it down their throats. There were only a handful of people that were shot. Jim Jones being one of them.
He shot
was
himself,
not the last person.
But
yeah, he shot himself, and then there was one person left who did all the like kind of tying up the edges and stuff.
Dude, they hit so much of that, like, and you're talking about all these facts of Jonestown, and it's like they hit this in like this movie's about like an hour and 20 something minutes, or hour 30 something. Like it was not that long of a movie, but like the sister. So this all sets up, and one of the things I really liked about this was the fucking. It's like one of the most realistic found footage movies I've ever seen because they went out and get this real world media company, Vice. And they get Vice to fucking put their name all over it. And it just gives the only thing about it that I wish they would have fucking fixed when the fucking the father in this, they call him the father. I forget what his real name was. Did Jim Jones have a name like that? Did he go by anything? Like what was his?
He went by father.
Oh, okay.
Dad.
Wow.
He didn't go by daddy, but he did go by father. He went by dad.
Daddy.
He went by
daddy.
something else. But yeah, he's just called the father in the movie in the credits, even though his name is Gene Jones. But he's no relation to Jim Jones.
The only thing that I wish they would have done, the only thing that made me giggle a little bit is because the father takes the camera when he takes the one dude, and it's the little like kind of the DSLR. And he's shooting stuff, and then after he kills himself, they run out and they don't ever grab that camera. And I wish they would have grabbed that camera because it was like one of those things where like it has that found footage feeling, and then they run out without that camera, and it's like, but then how do you have the footage from this camera when you and that's the only
clean it up.
Yeah, and well the guy, that's at the very end of the movie when all the shit's hitting the fan. And you're talking about, like, they had politicians coming down to try to, was it like trying to free people at Jones? Like the people that, like, because they went to South America, right?
Yeah. So basically the politicians were going down for like a couple of reasons. One, there was a coalition of family members that were trying to get their family members out of Jonestown.
Yeah.
And they had like reached out to him. He was going down to basically see, if things were on the up and up and whatever.
Yeah.
He ended up dying because this whole thing happened while he was there.
Oh.
He did go down with the media.
Yeah.
Which is why this even hits to a T. And it was so funny because when we were watching it, right before the shooting starts at the helicopter, I was typing in Discord and I was like, and at this point in the story, there's a shooting and blah, blah, blah. And bam, it happened. And I was like, oh. Yep.
Yeah.
But we did not include that. And I think it's because they would have had to explain why he wasn't going to like, kill them or bring in the forces or anything like that. But paranoia happens when you're on so many different types of drugs.
Yeah.
It's so already like fucked up.
If you follow like Hitler, Trump, it's these motherfucking megalomaniacs are on these fucking like speed type drugs. And what it does, besides being like, the drugs that fuck you up, like, accelerate everything, these people don't sleep. And when you don't sleep, you get paranoid as shit, and like you're paranoid as shit. And it was like, they kind of just transitioned it into in this movie that like, that because they were there that like they were going to go back and everyone was going to see what they were doing, and it was almost like hey, they're going to catch us like being shitty people or being like a cult, and they're going to come and stop us. And all that is Jim Jones or the father going, well, we can't, we have to like live how we want to live. And if they see this, and like, it's the reason, the reasoning is like, oh, we can't let them out because then, but now they're gonna never gonna like stop looking for these people. And they're like, so then they're gonna come and kill us with the army and guns and all this shit. And you're like, yeah, but if you would just let them go and you would just like, do that. Yep. And there's like no, like outside of the thing is that, and I'm assuming it was like you were talking about them having the coalition of people who were trying to get their families out. One of the best characters in the movie is the little girl that like kind of is used as the fuck, we got to get out of here because if you don't believe in what Father's saying and you don't do what Father's saying, they'll do things to you. And like, they don't ever go into details. And that's one of the creepiest things about this is just like, yeah, bad things are going to happen. And and
in the real Jonestown, what happened was somebody was trying to pass the politician a note, but they tried to give it to the wrong person because they didn't realize that wasn't that politician, and they dropped it. And when they went to pick it up, one of the children, because they're trained to tattle on each other, was like, they're passing a note. And that's kind of where that paranoia seed started to bloom. Like, it was already planted, it was already in place, but that's when it started to bloom. So
the fucking scenes that like always are chilling. I mean, obviously all the shit with the fucking with the drinking the Kool-Aid and everything is just horrifying and watching it. But like there's the younger black kid who was like, playing basketball earlier, and he's like, dude, why are we doing this? I don't know, like, and watching him just like talk him into drinking the Kool-Aid that he didn't want to drink. You're just like,
and that's why they consider it to be a murder.
Yeah.
A murder it was 918.
Yeah.
But they consider it to be a murder and not necessarily suicide because of the coercion and everything that went down.
Yeah.
Because that's just where you're at. Like, it's technically murder.
I mean, it's like Charlie Manson, right? Like Charles Manson, like he didn't kill anyone. He didn't. No. He just stayed back and was like, "You go do this shit," and he got his sycophants to go do things that they probably would never have done before that.
In the movie, when the little girl is with her mom and her mom slits her throat, I wanted to cry.
Yeah,
because like, as fucked up as it was, like, she knew.
Yeah,
they all knew. And the thing is that in actual Jonestown, which they kind of showed this, but in actual Jonestown, he would do these like tests periodically of the Kool-Aid moments, even though the actual, I'm sorry, I'm this person, even though the actual final massacre took place with Flavor Aid and not Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Anyway, he did do some with Kool-Aid, but he would do like random shit where he would like poison their drinks and tell them after they had taken a drink and be like, you have 45 minutes left to live, figure out what you're gonna do. And he would do these tests all the time. He had an inner circle, and then he had an inner circle. So by the time in this movie, if you go based on that knowledge, they knew he was serious. It wasn't, and they had prepared for it because they had done it before, if you base all that within the movie itself. So as the boy is like, why are we doing this? Like, it's definitely possible that people did that. Actually, I know it's happened, but people, and he just convinced them. He just made them truly believe, and they did such a good job of demonstrating it in the movie.
Well, dude, the thing is, that's what's so scary about these people is that they like, I mean, let's be real, fucking MAGA is a cult, right? MAGA is a cult. And the whole point of it, I mean, fuck you all the shit, just, and this is Nazi shit, like, just despite like that, like, but the power of like not just like a scale like Jonestown or even this movie, which is like, you know, we said like 100 and whatever people. You just watch these people who have never felt like never been a part of anything, and then either through wanting to belong or just fear or like wanting to fit in, or maybe they do agree with it, because you see that varying degrees of that in this movie, where it's like you were talking about, like there are people that like who didn't feel like they fit in, or people who like he it seemed like he picked up the sister of the one Vice character from a drug rehab clinic or something like that, and it's
Which
like
is a Jones thing, or Jim Jones thing as well.
was yes yeah so it's just,
Like, there were literally people like his doctor that worked in Jonestown
yeah
had been a meth addict that Jim Jones had gotten sober and then paid for him to go to medical school, because in turn that individual owes them their life, you know, so
Yeah.
they're never gonna default on him or whatever the
yeah
word is.
like yeah turn on him,
And
yeah
like he did that a lot, and he did that with a lot of people that were addicted to things, but he also did it with very smart people, because just like in today's age, QAnon took off because there were so many people just looking to feel connected
Yeah.
to anything, to
Yeah.
anyone.
Yeah.
They were so blinded by it. Same thing with like MAGA. Like
Yeah.
they'll talk about all these different things. They'll just blindly agree to things. Like the woman, I watched one the other day where a woman was like, if they take away my right to vote, that's fine because that's for the better good. And you're like, Kool-Aid.
Yep. Yeah.
And the
that
movie does a great job of showing that.
yeah I mean, it's very much, it's like that's the scary part of it. It all is like you have this thing, and it's like that's why this movie hits so it's like it's so close to just being a documentary, right? Because they recreate
Really is.
it's like all that stuff, and you say that like you're talking about this here, like the series of events that leads to Jonestown, and they're pretty much like they kind of hint to it in this movie, but like this all happens in like less than a 24-hour period. You're at like a like, you know, 16 18-hour period where everyone, like you go from 200 people to like 2 people or 3 people, whatever. And it's like you see all these implications of like the stuff you're talking about, where they like it's built up, and like these people are so like fanatical, and it's like it's terrifying, and it's also, it just shows what the human condition is, right? The human condition is wanting to have a community, wanting to have a family, wanting to belong. And when you don't have that, you are the most susceptible person. Like that's how you become susceptible. That's how you will do anything. That's how you will like, I mean, there are lots of other issues in modern America now with like, you know, lack of education, but like, fuck man, I wonder how many of the things in like now in America you tie back to like Russian propaganda and Russian like psyops of like, you know, messing with people, because you see it all the time, and you saw it after the 2020 election of all the stuff that like they tied back to Russian, you know, things coming in and like messing in creating, you know, posts and getting these people to believe it, because it's that thing where it feels like so many people will believe anything if it makes them feel like they fit in, if it makes them belong. And that's very much like what is going on here. And you have to say, like, like, what did Jim Jones start off like having, like, even with his like what ends up happening, but like did he start off trying to be good, or was it always just a game?
Well,
like
it was always a self-fulfilling prophecy in its
Yeah.
own right. Like he wanted to be the center of attention. He wanted
Yeah.
to be the one that like really led things through. I don't feel like it was altruistic in the slightest.
Yeah.
Even when it came, because again, he came out and was like, I don't believe in God, but I love the concept of church.
Yeah.
You know, I don't believe in God, but have you bounced between these different churches? Like he would literally go to one church for like half an hour to 45 minutes as like a young teen, and then go to another one just to bounce around and see how they operated. He
Yeah.
loved going to Black churches. He
Yeah.
loved going to like, you know, all these different ones because he enjoyed it, but he loved watching the preachers to figure out how they were able to have such power and pull. And he learned from a very young age that all it took was being able to give a little bit and there you go. So
Yeah. I mean, you think about it.
I think he started out as doing good, but for like selfish reasons,
Yeah.
not altruism in the slightest.
And that's kind of, they convey that a lot in this movie, that this
Mhm.
guy is doing these. I mean, that's like what, like the sister is like, this fat old dude is like banging a hot like 20-something-year-old chick that he should have no fucking right being with, right? But it's just that fucking power he has over her. And I think of everyone in that whole camp and everyone in that movie is like, he has the greatest power over, because like when everything goes, that lady pours gasoline over herself and lights herself on fire. And I said, there's like, I have a list of ways I don't want to die.
Oh yeah,
and
that's definitely one of them.
yeah, burning to death is like very high in that list. It is very like, yeah,
for
fuck
me
that.
that like whole thing, because like I remember one time years and years and years and years ago, somebody being like, it's not the fire that kills you, it's the heat in your lungs. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh,
Yeah.
don't like that
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've all like touched something hot we shouldn't have on accident, or like bumped into something hot and burned ourselves. And it's like, it's that fucking, it's not even just that like immediate pain. It's that like that nerve damage that like,
Mhm.
you know what's actually worse though? I figured out watching a lot of true crime stuff, like watching tons of Mr. Ballin. You know what's worse than burning to death? Getting steamed to death. Because the difference is when you burn to death, your nerve endings die.
Mhm.
Doesn't happen with steam.
Are you talking about like steam as in like over a long time,
like
like
if
a frog in a pot kind of situation, or
no,
just
I mean
like
like
you're literally in a steam
if you get like like if you're in a factory or something like
steam? Oh,
yeah, and steam, yeah, you don't like, your nerve endings don't go out on steam. Like it's just like you just fucking feel all of it. Like with burning to death, you're eventually, but like, yeah, fuck, man. So yeah, that's like, that shit is all. That's why the end of fucking Saint Maud is so fucking like,
yeah.
when she just puts the like shit all over herself and lights herself on fire. You're like, and it's, man, it is such a thing of like, it, like you're talking about going to the black churches, and you could see like they do have like a large part of the community in this movie is like black. You just got like the like the kind of preachery, like the bat kind of like the bat, like a lot of the, like you were talking about the Jim Jones in that, and the church services in this feel very like Baptisty, like, you know, they, you know, the big old, like they have the really good band in this, and just playing the really good music, and like
Jonestown also had a really great band that recorded a bunch of stuff, because he was a firm believer in that, because again, he worked with so many black individuals and black communities, and then once the money ran out, he started appealing to the rich white communities.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things, and they make a point in this, and they like they're tying all these things back to Jonestown. They go, the sister at one point goes, "Yeah, if we get that next batch of money, we'll make it." And it's just like that, and you have to wonder too, with that being, how much of that was really what was guiding what happened that day in like Jonestown, like money running out, and then like,
that was a lot of it. Well, but the thing was, he was so drug filled at that point, because they had the money. They had billions of dollars. I'm pretty sure it was billions. I don't think it was millions. I think it was billions. But they had so much fucking money, but in the greedy sense of fashion or his shit, like he just wanted more, and he wanted to pretend like they had no money. They could have lived, I think they said 27 years. If they would have continued to live the way they were living, they could have lived 27 years off of what was in the budget. I want to say it was 27 years. Well, could be overstating it.
Yeah.
But still. And instead he was like, oh, like he was feeding them only twice a day. They were getting like maybe some rice and like something else. They'd be lucky to get enough water to go around. Like it was so fucked up, because they dropped so many people in so quickly, which, I mean, they do a good job of showing in the movie, because you've got all these little like shacks that have just kind of popped up, because they haven't had time to really build them up at this point.
Yeah. Well, you have to wonder too, it's like, obviously the money not never having enough, greed is such a thing, right? And like if he can't, and he tells them he doesn't have anything, then like it's easy. Like he got, I mean, I assume that Jonestown was very much similar, where like he got these people all sold everything they had and gave it to him. And so you're saying like you take the couple hundred people here in this one and they're living off of it, and then you take the couple thousand people at the Jonestown thing and you're going, he had like, yeah, there had to have been like, especially if they were living like you're talking about and how they were. I mean, you're sitting there going, how are you people running out of money when you're not using
greed?
And
that's the wild thing is like, and then, well, here's a fun side note, which I don't think they touched on in the movie.
Yeah.
But you had two primary sects of Jonestown. So you had Jonestown itself, and then you had the People's Temple in the States, because they're both part of the People's Temple.
Yeah.
Technically, Jonestown is the People's Temple agricultural project.
Yeah.
But there were two separate like sections, and the plan was that if one goes down, they both go down.
Yeah.
So they had sent the message to the other location in the States that they had to go out too. Like they needed to die off too, because that's also where a lot of their money was still pulling from. So you'd have these sermons in the States where people would be, not tithing, but donating to this particular organization, this religion, whatever. And then that money was getting sent to Jonestown. But because they moved so many of their high donors to Jonestown, they weren't able, and they didn't necessarily mention that in the movie. It would have been cool too, but I think that would have been a lot to try to explain.
Yeah.
Ty West did make a comment in one of his interviews. I was looking at it earlier about that. He wished he could have made this into a mini series.
Yeah.
Because he felt like there was so much more to tell that he didn't get to tell in this. But I think he did such a great job of telling and explaining with this one.
It's that thing where, man, he is like, this movie is just like, you could like just picking and choosing what you're going to do and converting this story like this. You're talking about you listened to hours and hours of stuff about Jonestown, right? And like he does such a good job of conveying that and putting that in then a 90-minute, like 100-minute, like, movie where you're sitting there going, this is like, you're conveying how this happened and how you got into the situation where all these people who, like he's the fucking like how he's talking them into, oh, you're not killing yourself, this isn't a sin. You're just like, Jesus Christ, dude. Because that's the thing, the hypocrisy of of religion is the like, it's the sticking your fingers in your ears and going la 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 unless you want to hear it, right? And it's like all the shit where these people, I mean, it happens all the time where these MAGA people, they're like, oh, gay, they going after gay people and going after trans people. And then people are like, hey, how about this thing where it's like, if you touch a woman inappropriately, we're going to cut your hands off. It's the picking, you can't pick and choose if you're going to go down this fucking route of like all this stuff, which is what is, it's the fucking do as I say, now what I do, like what this guy was doing and what all these kind of people doing, where you're like, you're selling everyone that you're so holy and you're holier than thou and like blah, blah, blah. But like, and then when the lights turn off, you're like doing everything you're saying not to do. And you're like, and it's just fucking insane, man. It really is. And it's just these people, like, obviously this, I think one of the best lines in the movie is like where they're talking about getting her brother laid, and she's like, everybody's got to sin sometimes or whatever. Like, what is this? And it's like, Jesus Christ, man. It's just, because it hits, man. It hits, especially in this modern world. That's why, like, going down these streets of like, it's, you just see this world where these people are so lost and you're so wanting to belong and so like, and it's just like, it's weird because I always associate things like this with like more direct hatred, but like the hatred doesn't really come out in this. It's that like just the 100% dedication to one person. When that like
blinded,
dude. Like I swear to God, fucking Trump could get on the fucking internet today and tell all the MAGA people to kill themselves, and couple million would at least would kill himself. Like it's the same kind of thing, man. Like the thing is, like, at least with fucking like Jim Jones' father, you go, oh, this motherfucker had charisma. Like Trump just like going.
Oh my God, he just did an interview the other day where he like, it was really bad. Anyway, sorry.
No, you're good, because it's completely why I think this stuff is really, really relevant right now, because it's like you're just like watching someone say shit, and it's like it's
the same people that are gonna be like watching something like this and be like, oh, these people are so stupid, that would never happen. Actually, very intelligent people join cults. You know, people of all classes and whatever join cults, but very intelligent people join cults. And it's very simple to like it's only 2 skips away, not even 2 skips, maybe 2 small steps between the 2, and they're like right on that edge.
Loving, like, lonely people. Like I said before, like, lonely, we're fucking, as a species, we are a social species. We are meant to be around each other. We're meant to be like loved. We're meant to be all these things. And you take that away from people, and it's like just like why all the shit with the male loneliness epidemic and shit like that, right? And it's like it's all the shit where it's like when you don't have that love, and you don't have these people, and you don't have a life of like people being there for you and loving you and just showing you affection, like you're so desperate for it. That's like how like teenagers join cults, right? I mean, not cults, like gangs, right? It's like, I mean, cults too, but like gangs is another really relevant thing, because it's the same kind of thing where you're preying on the individuals who are alone and lonely and just want to be part of something. And that's what it always is. It's your especially now, it's like that thing where, like, let's be honest, we don't do a good job. I mean, especially in America, of protecting our weak, right? We don't protect our weak. Our weak go on the streets, and like, I know that there are places that are way better than others, but like, it's all just showing you that like when you're not protected, and when you're not when you don't have things that you need to be as a human being, it just like you could do really stupid shit. I mean, I think that like it's way easier to manipulate a stupid person into joining a cult. But like you're saying,
that was something like, full disclosure, Jim Jones did that. He knew exactly how to do that. Same thing like with that doctor. He would find random people that were not of the highest intelligence and find ways to use them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then that's the thing, man. It's like they learn it. You know how you and I learn how to do things we do every day? This motherfucker was manipulating people every single day. And when you manipulate people all day, every day, you learn new tricks. You learn who you can target. You learn what you can get away with. You learn, and then like, it's all that shit. It's like you go, I'm wondering, have you seen anything with all the stuff you've read about Jim Jones? What, like, were there ever like theories, or was he ever diagnosed with mental issues? Like, did he have any diagnosis for
anything?
I'm just curious.
He very well could have, but I didn't see anything, and I don't remember hearing anything about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't remember seeing anything.
Yeah, it's a curious thing, because it's like that thing of like, what are the factors that can drive people to do that, besides like, because obviously you're broken on some level if you're willing, or you able to get all these people to do this, to kill themselves or be killed or whatever. There's something broken, and it's like, is it he a sociopath? Is he what? I mean, you don't know, and it's just like, sociopath, it seems like a logical like label. Like, you're gonna put a label on a motherfucker that's gonna do something like this. Seems reasonable, because it means you don't care what happens to other people, right? So like, there's like, it is a narcissism. I mean, narcissists, like.
Oh yeah, no, there's definitely stuff there. There's definitely like, I mean, even as a kid, like, the whole thing with him setting up like the Nazi or the Youth for Hitler group in the States, which is just weird in and of itself, but he would order the kids to goose step and like cry out Heil Hitler and
Yeah.
like all kinds of shit. And he would do like weird shit. Like at one point he would jump off of a roof to try to claim that he could fly.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot all about it. He would do services for animals that had passed away and like make the other kids be there. And he killed a cat for like one of these services at one point. Like, so yeah, there's something
Yeah.
fucked up with him.
Yeah.
But
I mean, yeah, it's that thing where you go, how just the preying on the weak is just something that, I mean, I don't know. I've never been able to hurt people, never been able to, like whatever, like people can make me mad, but like just having that ability to just turn off all the humanity in yourself, and that's like narcissism, the socialism, the sociopathic kind of tendencies, right? And man, it's just like it just it's you think of someone like that who would be, I mean, you know what it reminds me of, to be honest, is all those like mega church pastors.
oh yeah,
It's just that
whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, all the mega churches.
Yeah. The ones that have that, like, I mean, that took the Jim Jones playbook and instead of like, moving, they just used it to just fleece motherfuckers from like their life savings and just like, I don't think there's a heaven and hell, but if there ever was, these people would be burning in hell for all. Like, I mean, you would assume that these motherfuckers don't believe it or don't. Maybe they've convinced themselves that they're doing it for a better good. But like, I don't know, man. It's a weird species of things that human beings can do, like that can just take advantage of each other on a level that I don't think any other species in the world, like any animal, does. Right? It's like you don't have like dolphins like fucking each other over for like, to get the best fish or whatever. Like I know animals will take advantage of each other, but it's like on the scale of what humans do, right? It's like it's very weird and it's very like odd that we're like I don't know, just able to do so many bad things to each other, and it's just like without like turning it's people like Jeffrey Epstein and like all these people that have done, hey, P. Diddy, all the shit that motherfucker did. Like, you just go, there are people that just do things like, it's almost like it seems like they're just going, what can I get away with? What can I get away with, and what can I do to make myself feel something for the first time in whatever. But yeah, I was gonna say that when you said you think you'd study this, I was like, this movie is so far up Ken's alley that I'm like, there's no way that like you hadn't, like someone hadn't brought it up to you, right? And like, obviously it came out in 2013, so it's been 12 years now since it came out. But like, it's one of those like this movie, The Invitation, like which came out in 2015 that we talked about last week. It was just about two movies that like they just have left a real like they both these movies have left like a real like positive, like real like strong memories, because they're just so powerful in movies, like where it shows what cults can do to people and what they can do to like those. I mean, in The Invitation, it was people grieving, and this people's outcasts and everything like that. And obviously we're tied it back directly to Jonestown because this is Jonestown the movie, but like or as they call it on the studio, Kool-Aid.
Which I really wish that one of the things with this movie that I wish they would have done is at least in the beginning or the end. I mean, I understand the concept is it's all found footage and it's supposed to be real, but I really wish at the end they would have been like, for more information on this subject, or like, this is a nod to like whatever. Obviously they don't have to, but I wish they would have, because I don't think people realize, if you went into this and didn't know anything about Jonestown.
Yeah, it is not something.
It's a great starting point to discuss Jonestown, which is why I wish that they would have done more like, hey.
I wonder, because I didn't sit through the credits. Did you sit through the credits? Is there any? I didn't.
There was like a thing at the end that like wrapped up. Sorry.
You're good. You don't have to apologize for yawning, dude.
Yeah, we're on a podcast. Jesus.
I don't care.
There was a thing at the end that like wrapped up the movie, but nothing about actually Jonestown. Like I thought they were going to say something about it, but nothing about it.
Yeah, I think it's because it's such an important piece of history where it just shows what someone not reined in can do. Just, and well, obviously, I mean, we've had plenty of things like Waco, right? Like this is not just a one time. What year did Jonestown happen? Was it like
Jonestown? The actual event occurred, I think it was 78, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
78.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, like Waco was in 91 and like we haven't, I mean, there's lots of other like the Comet people, the Halley's Comet people who all did the same kind
Gate.
of or Heaven's Gate, yeah. Those motherfuckers, man.
I mean, you've got Scientology out there basically doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And you've got
but they don't kill them.
Others.
They're more like the fucking mass churches because they're doing the same thing where they don't want people to die because guess what? Then their money. Yeah. So
true.
Yeah.
Very true.
This is a really good watch. It's not an easy watch, man, especially when you don't know what's coming, and like when you do know what's coming, you're like, because it's just horrible shit. Watching all these women and children dying and just being, because it's mostly women and children. There are men there, but it's like mostly women and children, and it's just like, fuck, that's hard to watch. And but that's the thing, man. That's one of the things I love about horror is that it has that ability to show you what you don't want to see, and like show you things that have happened and show you things that are like real life, crimes and fucking horrible events. And so, did you have anything you were thinking about watching next week?
Actually, no. I don't have anything that I was thinking about watching.
I had been looking around and there was something on Plex that I think Josh had been put on there that I was wondering if we could do next week. Let me see real quick. But let me see. What was it? Oh, there's a couple things. We go watch Hell of a Summer, but I think that's more of a comedy. Ash. Oh, do you want to do Ash? The one with
Yeah.
Aaron Paul?
Yeah, because you guys were talking about how great that was. Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's great. Yeah. So
it's on Plex.
Yeah, it's on Plex. So let's do Ash next week. Okay, Kin,
Okay.
do all your pimping.
Continue, KINTINUE. You can find me at twitch.tv/continue every day. I'm playing through Oblivion right now. By the time this comes out, hopefully I'll be finished with the main story and back on some type of automation game of some sort. But we'll see.
Yeah. I'm also playing Oblivion. You could go watch it at Rod_Johnston and do that thing. So yeah, I'm doing that.
The great thing about Oblivion too is like nobody plays it the same way. So
no, dude,
check both out.
Have you looked at the fucking achievements? People are either just doing random shit. Like people are barely like it was like the other day. It was like 3% of players had closed the first Oblivion gate.
Yeah, I joined the rank of Slayer in Dark Brotherhood and that was 7.3% of players.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
I pickpocketed as the thief. I joined the Thieves Guild and got 12%.
Yeah.
I think people are joining. They're buying the game. They're playing for like 2 hours and then piecing the fuck out because. Yep. I located the shrine of Dagon today.
Yeah.
And only 7% of players have found that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people who just bought it and are like, "Oh my god, it's Oblivion," but then they bounce off of it but it's really well done, man. I'm impressed because that's the thing about fucking Bethesda. They keep using the same shitty engine, and watching like a Bethesda game running in Unreal 5 has been impressive. So it's by far the best Bethesda. This game looks way better than Starfield did. So, yeah. Okay, guys. Next week, we're going to do Ash. So we will see you guys next week. So we love you. Have a good one and take it easy. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.